Hello and welcome to Eyewitness Report. I am Yomi Otaibi. The gridlock on the Lekki-Epe expressway will be the main highlight on this week's edition of the program, as eyewitnesses tell their experience plying some parts of that route. Also, we'll bring you what the weather condition feels like in Plateau, Kaduna, and Yobe states. The harmattan season may be winding down in some states in the southern part of Nigeria, but residents of some states in the northern region of the country are still dealing with the harsh weather condition.
Jos, the Plateau state capital, north-central Nigeria, is known for its severe cold weather, as it's said to be the coldest city in the country. The harmattan season lasts between November and February and is accompanied by harmattan dust, wind and haze.
You know how it used to be in Jos? The place is, when it comes to November, December, January, very, very cold, sometimes extremely cold. As you can see, it's 1, 2, and 1 is still very, very, feeling that just under the weather. And as you can see, the whole place is still cold this very hot afternoon. And one other thing you will notice is I have a running nose now. The dust haze and what comes with the cold itself is telling very, very hard on one. Sometimes in the morning we are all indoors until maybe 9, 10 o'clock. You see people going out. When you're out around 9, you see the whole shops and offices are closed. But from 10 o'clock, and once it's 3, 4 o'clock in the evening, everybody is running back home.
Gentlemen, you're welcome.
According to climatologists, climate change is responsible for the extreme weather this year.
You see, this climate change is real. Temperatures are really on the increase. If you notice COP27, they were all screaming, let's not go beyond 1.5 because it will be irreversible. Now, because of this warming, the low vortex created at that low pressure cell I told you, it's becoming stronger. If you notice, rainy season last year before last, did not really stop when people expected it to stop. Normally our rainy season is here by say first, second week of October, it's gone. But almost towards the end of October, we're still having showers here and there. So it's the effect of climate change. Now, what happened normally is that by this time of the year, the sun is overhead in the southern hemisphere. That's tropics of Capricorn. So automatically, it means the low pressure cell will shift to the south. And where the low pressure cell is, that is where the zone of rising air, because naturally, where the sun is overhead, maximum solar intensity will be exerted there. And when air is heated, it becomes light. When it's light, it turns to rise. So naturally, air from colder, dense area will flow to take the part. So now that it has moved to the southern hemisphere, majority of the air flowing to take the side is coming from the northeastern part of the country. And because this is a dry air by nature passing over the Sahara Desert, homogeneous surface, picks up characteristics, very cold it comes, dusty, harsh. Now when it encounters the plateau, the rise in altitude, there's this geographical dictum that says the higher you go, the cooler it becomes. Exactly. So the altitude of the plateau enhances that cooling more than the normal surrounding. That's the effect.
Residents keep warm with special outerwears to avoid any health issues associated with harmattan season.
Like me, I used to wear 3 clothes, singlet and normal t-shirts with 1 big jacket and scarf. Sometimes I used to wear masks because of this cold. The area where I live is a place where river day. there is too much cold. I need the sun to heat me because of the sun. That is why I want to sit in the sun. But some people say the morning sun is vitamin K. But it's very important to human being to attend this morning sun. That is why I used to sit in the sun every day when sun comes out.
If you're to bath in Jaws, the water itself will be very, very hot. If the water is not hot, there's no way you can cope. Even in the afternoon, unlike as it used to be during the hot season and that. But once it's the cold season like this, the water needs to be very, very hot. You don't even take cold water. Pure water businesses now are crying, you see, because people don't even drink cold water again. Until maybe when it's middle February to the end of February downwards, and that's when you get to see their own businesses pick up. But anything that got to do with cold now, man, such businesses will hold on for a while.
The harsh weather comes with some health challenges, especially when the body is not well protected.
One of those things that it does is to increase the rate of upper respiratory tract infections, because it's dry and dusty. It carries a lot of particles in the atmosphere, and people tend to inhale it and tend to come down with a lot of upper respiratory tract infections, cough, catarrh, nasal discharge, or that what we call catarrh, and then also it can also has impact on the skin, because it is dry and dusty. It can lead to loss of fluid and dehydration, and then dry skin. And so because of that, people tend to have dry skin, cracked lips, even cracking of the sole of their feet. And so that also is another thing. And also on the skin too, it can lead to a lot of because of the rashes, because of the heat, it can cause dryness of the skin, and then people tend to itch, and then it can also lead to bruising, and because of that also can predispose to skin rash and so forth. And so another health implication of the harmattan on the health of humans is also tend to be an increase in the rate of allergic disorders like asthma, like allergic conjunctivitis that's affecting the eyes, even the nose, allergic rhinitis, and you find that people tend to be, have itchy nose or itchy eyes, and then sneezing quite a lot. And then those who are asthmatic also tend to have increase in the frequency of occurrence of the asthmatic episodes. And then also for people who are sickle cell disease, who have sickle cell disease, we tend to experience an increase in the rate of crisis because of the weather. It reduces the content of oxygen in the blood, and because of that, it increases the sickling of the cells, and so increases crisis. So in terms of what do we do to help ourselves or to reduce the incidence, what I would say is that warm clothing is very important. Ensure that you are appropriately clothed, covering almost all parts of your body, and then also adequate hydration. Take a lot of water. And one funny thing with dehydration, which tend to become more frequent during harmattan, is that it can lead to headache and the rest. So sometimes some of the mild headache that people are experiencing during harmattan might be due to dehydration. So take enough water, and then also your skin, use enough petroleum jelly, moisturize your skin, to prevent cracking. And then also this is a period that I advise people, we need to wash our hands more frequently, so that we don't carry germs and transmit it to other people. And when we wash our hands, there tends to be a reduction in the rates of upper respiratory tract infections, and then also diarrheal diseases. And then also when people are sick and they've tried all these measures and it's not working, it's better to go and see a medical practitioner in order to help.
The cold weather this time of the year is not peculiar to Plateau State. It is experienced all over the northern parts of the country. In Yobe, it's affecting education activities.
During cold, we often wake up late because of the cold. We want to sleep and rest because of the cold, and then that will make us come to school late.
Me and my friends actually feel stressed to wake up early in the morning because there's a lot of cold, and we find it actually hard bathing with cold water because sometimes the electricity is not available during cold time in the morning. They normally take it, and so we find it bathing with cold water. If you notice, some of my friends, they normally don't bath, they wash their legs.
Eyewitnesses experienced similar situations in Kaduna State.
Go even for my dress, you go show say I'm a tandy now. Cold day. I weather for 2, but there for 1. I just escaped 2 weeks of serious cough and catarrh. People were even thinking I was having corona then. But I scaled through though. It's part of the weather, it's change of weather. So as weather changes, our body just has to adapt to the change. So we need to pass through some process for our body to be able to adapt to that change. So but now I'm fine and okay though.
The weather is very, very cold. Like I'm suffering from sore throat now. It's affecting my throat now. I have to be taking medications on that. So the weather is very, very cold. And you know, anytime you touch water in the morning is so cool. So you can see I'm still in my jacket.
There are students that are prone to this harmattan. In terms of sickness, those students are sickle cell, and also we say students are having asthma. The cold affect them and they don't even come on time. Some of them they do even select the days they come to school because of the harmattan.
When they wake up early, now there is this tendency that they have to wait for their parents to get hot water for them, and before some parents will make arrangement for them to start coming out to school, you discover that it takes a whole lot of time. And then even after getting them set early, now most of them use commercial transport to schools. And then you discover that even the transport workers, they don't come out early due to the nature of the season.
For prevention, what we advise, especially mothers, is that children who are sicklers, they shouldn't be allowed to stay indoors, especially early in the morning when it is extremely cold, or late in the evening. And then they should keep warm by wearing warm clothing, so cardigans, especially children going to school. When you are boiling water to take bath or something, mothers and caregivers at home should be very careful to stay close to it so that children don't crawl or walk to reach the hot water, because it can result in themselves getting burnt. At the same time, we also advise people should be using protective clothing or warm clothing if you are involves working in the outdoor, like commercial motorcyclists or tricyclists. They can use air protection, like wearing of goggles or glasses that would prevent the direct impact of the harmattan dust on their eyes.
Unlike Jos, in Damaturu and Kaduna, the harmattan is gradually receding.
Motorists and commuters on the Lekki-Epe expressway have been experiencing bouts of gridlock owing to the reconstruction of road by the Lagos State government. Channels Television monitored the situation, and here's what we found.
An elevated view of the gridlock from Victoria Garden City to Ajah, inbound Lekki-Epe expressway. The regular traffic snarl distorts the landscape of the area.
Thank you for taking your time to at least come witness firsthand what people are passing through. I live in the Ajah Aziks here, and the experience has been very terrible. People will spend lots of time in traffic, useful time that people could use to be productive, right? In traffic. So you can imagine, from Ajah Bridge to here has taken me close to 1 hour. This is a journey that should be about 30 minutes max. But we spent 1 hour from Ajah Bridge to VGC. It's madness, to say the least. And I think government needs to take this thing seriously. Look at the number of people. Maybe you guys should maybe get a drone to just take an aerial view of what's happening here. Imagine the number of people in traffic for 1 hour. Imagine an economy where we actually pay people per hour. So you can do the mathematics to see the amount of waste, human capital that is just being put on the way for nothing. It's grossly unacceptable. I think government should wake up to its responsibilities. The road should be fixed. And the worst bad thing here is by 5 a.m., and I mean 5 a.m., you still see traffic here. So that means those people woke up by 4, thereabout, got things set with this fuel challenge, still got the energy and the spirit, the real Nigerian spirit to get going. Yet, there's no enabling infrastructure to make them really have that satisfaction. You know, there's a happiness you get when you do work, especially something you are very passionate about. Just imagine the people being in traffic and those productive hours wasted. And it actually have an effect on the economy itself, because these are the people that are supposed to contribute to the economy and make it very more vibrant. And you go to the office, you're already tired because you spent 2-3 hours in traffic already. And you know, you are not being productive as you should, as you ought to. So it's something we are actually appealing. Do we say appeal? It's the work of government. We shouldn't appeal to them. We voted, right? So they were acclaimed to be voted in. So they should do their job.
The gridlock here is either caused by road construction or long queues at petrol stations as a result of fuel scarcity.
If you are going back to my place, which is a Lekki, you will spend 2 hours because of the people that are buying fuel and the people that are following one way. They are blocking the road. I was here 4 o'clock. Till now, I've not even buying fuel. But the people that come maybe around that kind 6-5, they will bribe themselves out and they will buy fuel. And we that queue since, look at it now, almost 1 o'clock now. 3:30 in the morning? 3:30 a.m. in the morning, I left my house. I was here 4. Till now, I've not bought fuel. This time now, this 12:30, I have not even buy one now, and they are still doing it. Is it right? Later they will say government is not good, but the one we are doing underground is more than even the one that government is doing.
Sometimes from house to office, 3 to 4 hours. Sometimes some heavy days, some light days, 2 hours, 1 hour plus.
The special advisor to the Lagos State Governor on Works and Infrastructure offers explanation.
I'd like to take you back memory lane. When we came in 2019, if you remember, the city of Lagos was bedecked with potholes all over. Lekki-Epe expressway up to Epe was also one of them. There was nowhere that was spared, including that expressway. And by the way, that expressway was built over 40 years ago. The concept when it was built was, when it was opened by Alhaji Jakonde, was to be a road that we were able to connect to the rural part of Lagos, Epe then. It is no longer a rural road. And because it was designed as a rural road, it didn't have provisions for drains. What you had were chutes, because it was expected that the runoff from the roadway would percolate through the chutes down. Over time, because of the development that has taken place along that corridor, people have actually even built built and then dammed, so the water doesn't even percolate anymore. So invariably the road cannot breathe, and of course it will not last. So it's no rocket science that this road is going to fail, and it just gradually over time it failed. One other thing is also the excess axle loads that lane carries. It's the fastest growing corridor. All of the trailers of cement, the aggregates, they are all plying there. And by the time the road gave, in 2019 the road was bad. By 2020 was the climax. Actually, you could not, at a point in time in October, you could not pass anymore. And so what did we do as a government? We told ourselves we'll take the hard bite. Given the fact that the deep sea port was already running on stream and would finish in less than 24 months from that period. And so we decided we'll take this road and build it in a sustainable manner. We will we'll do this road in rigid pavement. From that Eleko junction to Epe, we will try to create a dedicated lane such that heavy articulated trucks will go on that dedicated lane, leaving the other two carriageway. By the way, when that road was done 40 years ago, it was just it was designed as a single carriageway, but now we decided to dualize it and then have it as 3 lanes, 3 lanes.
The roadworks under this axis falls under the second phase of the reconstruction of the Lekki-Epe expressway, but challenges abound.
We have the challenge of fixing the second phase from Eleko down to Bamadisoya, where the Fourth Mainland Bridge is going to take off. So you can see the sequence of construction. And so that's where you have Green Springs, Awoyaya, and all of them on that road. I keep saying something. There is no gain without pain. But that does not mean that as a contractor and as a sensible government, when you give a contractor job, we will not streamline them and we will not sign off on traffic management plans. The traffic management plans are there. What often is lacking is the lane discipline of our people. Because even when diversion signs are there, when the barriers are there, people will always drive, they would always face one way. And so, coupled with the scarcity, you cannot manage when the petrol stations are close to the residential areas. Once there is queue, and the queue on 2 lanes, and people cannot, you are bound to have chaos. So the first one of 18.75 kilometers took 18 months. We have decided that the remaining 28 kilometers, we'll take it in 2 bites. We'll take another 18 and the last 10. So I expect the next 18 for another 18 months. But it could be faster because when you start the first process, you have a lot of difficulty. I expect it will be faster. However, you are moving into the city center. So you walked 18 kilometers in 18 months in the area that was not so urban. Now you're moving into the urban centers where you will have a lot of relocation, you will have your streetlight poles, so you need a lot of relocation of services and utilities that will take place. So that will slow us down a little bit. But otherwise, the first 18 kilometers also will take you another 18 months. So I keep appealing. I know that the pain is there, but I want to implore and plead with Lagosians to please bear with us. We're in the process of fixing all of this infrastructure in a sustainable manner, and we're getting there.
While the second phase of the reconstruction of Lekki-Epe expressway lasts, traffic jams are expected. Perhaps a little more push from those handling the projects would calm nerves.
The Eyewitness Report program enables you to participate by telling your stories that affect your communities with your mobile devices. You can capture activities around you and upload them on our Eyewitness portal on the Channels TV app. As soon as we get them, we begin the process of following up to report news that may compel relevant authorities to attend to your community needs. That's it on this edition of the program. See you again next week. I am Yomi Otaibi.